I try to stay positive. I think if people just do the right thing for themselves and like the person next to them, then I think we'll be all right. People with businesses that haven't been open for 2 years, they need like Melbourne to reopen, because we can't live like this.
Today on Dirty Linen, we are talking to Haikal Raji, one of the owners of an absolute Melbourne institution, A1 Bakery in Brunswick. A1's been there since the early 1990s, and Haikal is one of the heirs to the throne. Welcome to Dirty Linen, Haikal.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's great to have you on the show. A1 is such an institution. Tell me about it. I mean, you grew up in the business. Tell us about growing up at A1.
Oh, well, pretty much. Look, I've been here my whole life. I'm 32 now, and Dad opened the business in 92. So pretty much like ever since I was able to walk, like I'd come down to the bakery and, you know, run around and whatever. But then even like in my teen years, it was just about helping around, stocking shelves, filling up the fridges, and just looking busy. Because Dad never liked us to stand around. So, yeah, it was just anything we can do, we'd just help out.
And, I mean, did you always feel proud of it? It is a place that people come to from far and wide. And, I mean, I think the smell hits you before you ever get through the doors. But were you always proud of what you were creating, or was there a bit of, you said you had to look busy. Did you wish you weren't so busy there?
Well, when you're younger, it's sort of like you misunderstand and like the values of things. So it was sort of like, oh, I've got to go to work, I've got to do this. I think as I've gotten older, your love for the business grows with you. So right now I'm enjoying it more than what I used to, which is good. There's always we always look at things to improve. And I think that's like just part of growing up, I guess.
I mean, for people who don't know A1, can you describe it for us? Tell us what it's like and what you specialise in.
Well, we specialise in authentic Lebanese pastries like manouches and like falafel and all that sort of stuff. And we've also got a Lebanese grocery section. We make pita bread as well. So just authentic Lebanese food.
And you can eat in or you can take away, and, you know, in normal times, a lot of people love to do both. Like there's always queues. What kind of customers do you get?
Well, early days, it was more just the Lebanese, like Arabic customers, because they knew the food. Where now it's more multicultural. We get all walks of life coming in. But like still, even to this day, people walk in, look around. They're not sure what they want for lunch. They're like, I've never been here before. And then they'll look around and walk out without trying anything because they're still unaware of Lebanese pastries. So sometimes you need to grab people and drag them back in a little bit and say, I want you to try something. Like you might give them like a little sampler of like a cheese pie or like a zaatar, and then they're hooked, and then you see them the next day and the day after, and then they just become your regular customers.
That's so lovely. I mean, was that something that you saw your dad doing? You know, that he was trying to do that bit of outreach to try to, get people to fall in love with the food?
Yeah, Dad's always been generous with like serving food, because that's how we eat at home. We don't do like little portions or whatever. We just like our tables are full when we eat, and we're like. The Lebanese culture is very generous in by nature. So when people come in and they don't know what's what, you sort of like a bit of education and like you make them feel welcome and at home. And that's what we try to do here, make everyone feel welcome.
It's a pretty hard thing to do when the business is so busy. You know, there's always people lining up. I guess some people know exactly what they're there for. How do you sort of, give people who are at different stages with their Lebanese food journey what they want?
I think you can sort of read, well, it depends how, like, because I've been here for a while now, you get a read on customers and you can sort of tell, like, what they're into or what they would be into. So sometimes it's just about, like, having a guess and just, like, having a joke around as well, and not not being too serious with your customers. Like you'd have like an off day sometimes where you're not that you're not interacting that much with your customer, but like you just try to make your customer feel at home.
Because one thing that I love about A1 is you can just see all the action, you know. I just love the fact that you can see through to the bakery. You can see people who've got sitting at their tables laden with food. There's, you know, kids and grandmas. It's such a vibrant and varied place. But I do love that sense that it's all just being made there and you're really part of it.
Yeah, well, it's the way the business has been, like, we've got a big space here, so you try to fill it out. Sort like our grocery section was much bigger, but then when dining started to become a lot popular and we started introducing a lot of lunch meals, because at the start we only had about maybe 10 or 12 items on the menu, and that was all like pastry. Where now we've added like a lot of lunch dishes, so they do require a lot more dine in. So I think it's just so then we reduced our grocery section and we've focused a lot on the dine-in side of it. But now with lockdown, it's funny because the grocery section and like the spices and ingredients and stuff like that, that section's picked up again because a lot of people are cooking at home. So it's sort of interesting how lockdown has introduce people to cooking in their kitchens and like trying new recipes, which I think is really good as well.
That is interesting because, I mean, let's talk more about how it's been the last couple of years. Obviously, it's been a disruptive period for everybody. What's it been like for you at A1?
Look, we've been so blessed because our food can be enjoyed takeaway. So it hasn't it's affected us, of course, like everyone else, but I can't really complain. And like it is what it is for us. But thankfully, our business is still running. We can still keep our doors open. And yeah, sales aren't where they were, but we can't complain. Like we just got to keep the smile on our faces, and it is what it is, really. Because a lot of other businesses do have it a lot harder. So, yeah, we're just grateful that we can keep our doors open.
Have you been doing deliveries or just relying on people coming to the doors?
At the start, we didn't know how long. Well, 2 years ago now. Has it been 2 years? I'm losing track of months and days and everything. But at the start, we weren't on Uber or any of those services. So we started doing like deliveries ourselves, but it was getting a bit too much. And then we started to get busier. We didn't think that would be that busy for takeaway. So we sort of had to drop that and we signed up with like, you know, delivery partners, and that's taken a lot of pressure off us as well, because we didn't expect to have that much support while we were just doing takeaway. So, yeah, it caught us off guard a little bit.
So you found that there has been a lot of demand for people having your food delivered to them at home?
Yeah, I think now more than ever, just because a lot of people are hesitant to come out maybe. Some people are working from home. A lot more people are working from home now. So they can't really, you know, leave, or, you know, they're on their computer and they can't like leave their workspace to come for lunch. But I think also some people use it as an excuse to come out of the house and just like get some fresh air as well. So, but it's been a lot of takeaway has picked up, like deliveries have picked up. And yeah.
And I know that you guys have unfortunately had some COVID cases in the business. Can you talk to me about that?
Well, yeah, I think our first one was a tier 2, which was a customer. He probably would have been in here for about 10 minutes, I reckon. But the health department contacted us straight away and told us what to do. They wanted us to close our doors. I'm like, but he was in here for 10 minutes. What do I have to close for? He goes, yeah, it doesn't matter. You got to close. You got to get a deep clean. I'm like, all right. We didn't know how serious, like, you know, like we were still learning because it was like the closest contact we've ever had in here. So like, all right, we closed the doors. Like I had to, like pretty much we had to stop serving people, and like there was people in line, we just had to stop serving them. Like sorry, but like we got to close the shop. Yeah, so it was sort of like a bit of like you didn't want to freak people out at the same time, but you had to do the right thing. So we closed, and then we had to get a deep clean, like front of house and the back. So it was sort of like, and deep cleans, they're not the cheapest at the moment. But so yeah, we've done all that, and then all my stuff were cleared. They were all negative, thank God. So we just were able to open in like 2 or 3 days. So that was all right. And then our second exposure was a tier 1, which was a staff member. But we didn't know until like 4 or 5 days later. So we didn't know if the damage was done already or we've dodged, like we've sort of semi-dodged the bullet. Thankfully, so we found out on Friday because he tested positive, and he contacted us and said, look, I've tested positive. The health department are going to contact you guys. So I'm like, all right, it's Friday. You work on Monday. Am I supposed to close? He goes, I don't know. He goes, they're going to call you. So I didn't know what to do. Sort of like, do I open the next day? It was 4 days ago, 5 days ago. Like, was he contagious then or not? So we thought, you know what? We'll just close our doors on the Saturday and not open, and we'll just see what happens. Luckily, we closed because we were on the exposure site the next morning as a tier 1, and we hadn't been contacted yet. So it was sort of like we're a bit disappointed because if we had left our doors open and then we were on the exposure site, it would have looked really bad on our behalf. So I thought that they would have called us straight away, which was a bit disappointing. But thankfully, we closed the doors and we weren't open when we were on the exposure site, which was, I guess, a good thing.
And was there any spread at the bakery?
There was only one other staff member. So it was good that we did close, or else we wouldn't have known, where it would have leaded.
Because everyone went and got tested, and you found that out.
Yeah. Well, he was feeling a bit unwell the day before, and it was his day off, so he went and got a test on his own, which was good. And then he, I think, found out that Friday night as well. So leading on to the next day, it was good that we decided to close.
It's a lot, isn't it? I mean, as a business owner, you're responsible for so much, for your customers, of course, for your staff, for the finances of the business. It's must be expensive to close and do the clean and all that stuff, even though there is a rebate for a deep clean, but it must cost you a lot. How do you cope with that on your shoulders?
We don't like closing. If we can open every day, well, I don't want to, but if Dad can have us open every day, he'd have us open every day. We only usually close for like Easter, like Good Friday, Easter Sunday, and like Christmas Day and like New Year's Day. So all up, we close it like maybe 6 or 7 days a year. So for us to close, it's a bit uncomfortable, especially to close like without, like in those circumstances, because it was out of our control. So it was sort of just like you just take it on the chin, and that's all you can do, really.
How are you feeling about Melbourne coming out of lockdown? We know that there's going to be more cases floating around. I mean, how do you feel about things going forward?
I try to stay positive. I think if people just do the right thing for themselves and like the person next to them, then I think we'll be all right. I don't think we'd be able to scrap like COVID. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. But I think people people with businesses that haven't been open for 2 years, they need like Melbourne to reopen, because we can't live like this. So, but you have to rely, like, you just hope that people do the right thing and we get through it.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I wish we could banish COVID. I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, we do need to, just pull together and as you say, just do whatever we can. And I think, when I saw A1, closing and on the tier 1 list those couple of times, I felt really, really upset, because I feel like it's such an institution, and there are some businesses that feel like they're so much part of the heart of the city and the life of the city that they just have to be okay. I mean, does it feel like that working in A1? I mean, it's the family business, but it's so important to the community. Does that feel like a big responsibility?
It does, because you see like a lot of families, like regular families coming in, and like they sort of depend on your business, I don't know, to get them through their day or just their lunch break or, or whatever. So when we did find out, it's sort of like this old gentleman came in that comes in every day to pick up his pita bread. He came in, I hope he's all right. Sort of things like that, like, cross your mind, and like your staff's family, hope they're all right. Like, did anyone else get infected? Or like, just little things like that play on your mind. But you just got to have hope, I guess.
And what about let's talk about the food. Let's talk about all the good stuff. What do you reckon are the key items that you do? What are the most important things that people need to try?
For me, there's a top 3. I don't know if me personally anyway. It's in no order, because it just depends on what you feel like on the day. It's got to be the zaatar manouche. It's got to be the meat pizza, or the lahm bajin, which is the lamb, and then the cheese pie. I think they're my top 3.
Yeah. They're all pretty good. Tell us, for people who don't know what you do, like, explain to us what zaatar is and what the zaatar pastry is.
Well, zaatar's pretty much a mix of herbs like thyme, sesame seeds, sumac, and oregano, mixed with oil on a Lebanese pizza base and cooked in an oven. Now, you can have it on like a thick base or a thin base. The choice is yours. Some people like it soft and spongy. Some people like it crispy. And you can have it wrapped in veggies, which is also good.
Yeah. I think, and it's really one of the key fragrances, isn't it, when you walk in?
I think that's the strongest smelling one out of all of them, and it smells the best as well.
Yeah.
So what's your favourite, by the way?
I think it's a zaatar, but I think zaatar with cheese as well is really, really fantastic.
Zaatar with cheese. Good.
Yeah, very good. But, I mean, I really also love anything with pickles. So I think the plates, the platters that you do that have got falafel and pickles and dips, I think it's really, really delicious. And I love just coming in and seeing other people eating them, because it's so colourful. So I think there's really something of that sort of a Middle Eastern bazaar, a market kind of feel as well.
Yeah, it's true about the pickles as well. Like, it's funny because sometimes you see kids in prams and they're just chewing on a pickled turnip, and they're like, "Oh, my kid loves these turnips." I'm like, I didn't start eating them till like a few years ago. So it's good that kids are getting into pickles early. Yeah,
interesting. And so, are you running it now with your brothers? Is the first generation still involved?
Yeah, well, it's Dad's sort of taken a step back. And it's me and my brothers at the moment. Like, growing up, it was my dad, my uncle, along with my mum and my auntie. So I grew up here with my sister and my cousins. And so there was a big family presence here. But then when my uncle retired, I got a bit older. Dad took a step back, and now me and my brothers are just taken over and just trying to keep the name going.
And is any of you in the kitchen, or are you all sort of on the business side of things? Like, what do you guys do?
We're pretty lucky to have really good bakers that have been around for like 10, 15, 20 years, some a bit longer. So we haven't had to go, like we still learn everything inside, but thankfully we haven't had to go like be in the back, and we're all front of house, which is good.
And what do you reckon is the secret to really good Lebanese bread?
Oh, that's a good question. It's a secret recipe, to be honest, but but I think it's just enjoying what you like, how you make it. So if you love what you do and like the bread you're making and you make it with your whole heart, then it'll come out delicious.
Yeah. And I think also the fact that it's constantly being baked throughout the day, like, it's always fresh. I think that's really important as well.
Yeah, for us, that's I'm very big on having fresh products. So yeah, we don't like to bake a ton in the morning and then sell it throughout the whole day. We like to come at like 6 o'clock and just keep baking all day so the product stays fresh.
And I mean, what do you think about Brunswick, where the bakery is? Like, has that changed a lot over the years?
It has. There's a lot of apartments at the moment. Some still going up. I don't know where all these people are coming from because people are leaving Victoria. But hopefully, like soon, like the numbers pick up and all these apartments are full. But yeah, there are a lot more apartments now. But it's good to see also, like on Sydney Road, there was a lot of little shops that were empty for a while. I think like some people are trying to come in there and like put their stamp on Sydney Road, which is really good as well.
So are you feeling generally optimistic about, the period to come for Melbourne and for Brunswick?
Oh, you have to be. I think you've got to stay optimistic and just like be positive. That's all we can do.
All right. Well, Haikal, it's been really fantastic to learn a bit more about A1 and what you guys do. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell us?
No, I think we covered it. I think we've covered everything. But yeah, just come down, enjoy some authentic Lebanese food and enjoy.
Thank you so much. We definitely will. Take care.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
This is Dirty Linen and I'm Dani Valent. We air the issues that the hospitality industry finds hard to talk about, hearing from different people with unique perspectives. We want to hear from you as well. If you have something that needs to be said about a topic, get in touch so we can include your perspective. Contact us at dirtylinen@deepintheweeds.com.au or hit us up on Insta at Dirty Linen Podcast. We can't wait to hear from you.
This